All right, welcome to another deep dive. We are diving into a really twisted story today.
Definitely a twisted one.
Yeah, we are talking all about Joseph Mad Dog Taborsky.
Mad Dog Taborsky.
Now, I know you're interested in him, and it's not hard to see why
Yeah.
this is not just your average gangster, right?
Yeah.
Taborsky, he holds a pretty grim distinction.
He does.
He's the only person in Connecticut history to be sentenced to death row
Twice.
twice for two completely different crimes.
Yeah, it's really a fascinating case study.
Yeah,
Not just, for the brutality of the crimes,
right.
but for what it tells us about the justice system,
Right? Back then.
back in the day.
Especially when it comes to,
To capital punishment.
yeah, capital punishment. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So let's rewind.
Okay.
Let's go back to the beginning.
All right.
Taborsky, born in Hartford, Connecticut,
Yeah.
1924.
That's right.
Now I know you're familiar with the Mad Dog nickname, but even back in the 50s, that kind of moniker
Sure.
really painted a vivid picture, didn't it?
Absolutely it did.
I mean, it's not a name that you earn for.
Now, not for being a good boy.
No, not for baking cookies or anything.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
so his first really notorious crime
Yes.
happens in 1950,
1950.
on his 26th birthday, no less.
Can you believe that? 26th birthday?
Yeah, he and
He and his younger brother, Albert.
oh yeah, Albert
They decided to celebrate
celebrate
robbing a liquor store.
a liquor store.
Okay. Owned by a man named Louis Wolfson.
A Louis Wolfson.
Things went south,
Oh.
and Wolfson ended up dead.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
So now you would think that's where Albert kind of steps in, right?
You would think.
And does the right thing. But family loyalty,
Not so much.
not so much here.
Nope.
He ends up testifying against Joseph
Yeah, he does.
in exchange for a life sentence.
In exchange for a life sentence.
Talk about a rock and a hard place.
It really does raise some questions, doesn't it?
Yeah.
About their relationship and what might have driven him
Right.
to make that choice.
Right.
Regardless, though,
Yeah.
that testimony, it was enough
Oh, yeah.
to land Joseph on death row.
Death row. Wow.
But that wasn't the end of the story.
That is not even close to the end of the story.
Not even close.
This is where it gets crazy.
Right.
So Joseph is sitting in prison.
Awaiting his fate.
Yeah, awaiting his fate.
Right.
He discovers that Albert
Yeah.
has been declared insane.
Wow.
Talk about a plot twist.
That's a twist. And
And institutionalized.
yeah, he's institutionalized.
Wow.
So
This becomes his
his golden ticket.
yeah, you could say that.
He appeals the conviction,
Right.
arguing that Albert's testimony, which was,
The very basis
the basis,
of his death sentence
was unreliable
was completely unreliable.
due to his mental state.
Right.
This is really interesting, I think, because
Yeah.
this is where we see how legal definitions, especially around mental competency,
Right.
they really come into play.
Yeah.
Back then,
Yeah.
the standards for what constituted insanity
Right.
in a legal context, very different
Totally.
than they are today.
Yeah.
And this was really precedent-setting
Oh, yeah.
in Connecticut
Absolutely.
because the Supreme Court overturned his conviction,
Wow.
citing the questionable nature of his brother's testimony.
Oh, so
So he gets out.
yeah.
He gets a second chance.
Second chance.
Walks free,
Free.
telling everyone he's learned his lesson.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Changed man.
Changed man, blah, blah,
Yeah,
blah.
yeah.
But that Mad Dog nickname,
Oh,
well, it
it came back to bite him.
came back to bite him, yeah.
Hard.
Hard.
That's where the Mad Dog killings begin.
That's it.
Instead of taking that second chance,
Right.
turning his life around,
Right.
he teams up with another career criminal,
Yes.
Arthur Meatball Colombe.
Meatball Cologne, that's right.
And they embark on what can only be described as
Reign of
a
Terror.
reign of terror,
Yeah.
hitting stores and homes, leaving a trail of victims.
That's right.
And these weren't just
Petty thefts.
No, they were brutal, ruthless,
Absolutely.
utterly terrifying. I mean, they turned the state upside down.
For months.
People were afraid to go out after dark.
Exactly. You have to remember,
Yeah.
these crimes weren't just about stealing money.
Right.
There was a real level of violence here
Yeah.
and cruelty
Cruelty.
that went far beyond what was necessary. It
Yeah.
really seemed like Taborsky.
Yeah.
He reveled in the fear
Yes, he did.
that he instilled.
Yeah.
Um,
So they're on this rampage,
Right.
and you think, okay, between Mad Dog
Yeah.
And Meatball, there wouldn't be much room for compassion.
Yeah.
You would think. But here's another twist.
Yeah.
During one of their robberies,
Hmm.
Taborsky's about to kill a 3-year-old girl.
Oh, gosh.
And Colombe steps in,
What?
hides the child,
Wow.
fires a shot into the floor to make it seem like
Wow.
he did it.
He saved her life.
Saves her life.
That is incredible.
It's bizarre. It's a moment of humanity
Right.
amidst all this horror.
It makes you wonder about the dynamics
It does.
between these two men.
Yeah.
Was Colombe simply less hardened than Taborsky?
Right.
Or was there some shred of decency
Yeah.
that even Meatball couldn't completely extinguish?
Yeah, and as we'll see,
Okay.
this act of defiance, it plays a huge role.
Oh, yeah.
It plays a huge role in their fates, and their fates are very, very different.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
They couldn't outrun the law forever, though.
No.
No,
their luck ran out.
it did.
And
They got caught.
this is where that little girl, the one that Coulomb saved,
Right.
becomes really, really important.
A key figure in the case.
Yeah.
That's right.
So his act of mercy,
Yes.
right, combined with, his lower IQ
Uh-huh.
and his willingness to cooperate with the authorities,
Yeah.
it kind of paints him
In a more sympathetic light.
more sympathetic than Taborsky.
For sure.
And the courts, they recognize this, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
Colombe ends up with a life sentence.
yeah,
But-
harsh punishment,
But a far cry from what awaits Taborsky.
yeah, a far cry.
Right.
So remember how we talked about Taborsky
Yes.
being the only person in Connecticut
You only one.
to be sentenced to death row twice?
That's right.
Well,
Here we are again.
here we are.
It's unbelievable.
The Mad Dog killings,
Yeah,
they sealed his fate.
they did.
And for the second time,
A second.
he is staring down that ultimate penalty.
Wow, you have to wonder what was going through his mind
I know.
at that point,
Right.
Did he feel remorse
Right.
for the lives he took,
The family.
the families he destroyed, or
Or was he just, resigned to his fate? A hardened criminal just,
just accepting the consequence?
accepting it.
Yeah.
It's a question
It's a question that,
that we'll never know the answer to.
people are still debating it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Criminologists, psychologists.
Yeah, to this day.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
And here's another layer
Okay.
to this whole thing.
Right.
Taborsky, he refuses to appeal.
Wow, really?
He just
accepts it.
Accepts it.
No fight left.
No fight.
Wow.
Like it's almost as if he wanted to,
Control the narrative.
control the narrative.
Even in death.
Even in death.
That's interesting.
He'd already cheated death once, but this time,
This time he was ready.
it seems like he was ready.
Wow.
So May 17th, 1960,
Okay.
at the age of 36,
76 years old.
Mad Dog Taborsky,
Mad dog.
he meets his end,
Wow.
this execution.
Yeah,
It marked the end of an era in Connecticut.
I bet.
It would be 45 years
45 years.
before the state carried out another death sentence.
Wow, the impact of his crimes, though.
Oh, yeah.
Especially the Mad Dog killings.
Right.
It really extended
Oh, absolutely.
far beyond his victims,
For sure.
It changed the way people lived their lives.
Yeah.
The way they interacted with their communities.
With their communities, absolutely.
Think about it. I mean, this was a time
Yeah.
when people felt safe,
Right.
leaving your shops open late.
Right.
But after Taborsky,
Yeah.
things changed.
Yeah, it did.
People were afraid.
Afraid.
And that fear led to changes
Big changes.
in everyday life.
Yeah.
Restricted package store hours, for example.
Right. And
Things like that.
it's a stark reminder of how one person
Any person can really just
have this ripple effect.
ripple effect
Yeah.
and change not just individual lives,
Right.
but
The fabric of society.
the fabric of society. It's crazy.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Before we move on, I want to point something out that
Yeah.
I think you'll find interesting.
Okay.
Remember Taborsky's first murder conviction?
Yeah, the one that
The one that landed him on death row.
the first time?
The first time, right.
Right.
Well, before his execution,
Okay.
he confessed to that murder as well.
Wait, so he admitted
He admitted to killing Louis Wolfson,
the liquor store owner.
the liquor store owner. That's right.
But why?
That's the question, isn't it?
His brother had already taken the fall,
Right.
and he was about to be executed anyway.
Exactly.
It just doesn't.
It's a confession that has baffled people
I bet.
for decades. I mean,
Was it a genuine expression of guilt?
right.
You know, was it a way to clear his conscience for facing his maker?
Right, right.
Or was it something, more calculated?
Yeah, yeah.
Was it an attempt to maybe control how history would remember him?
Right.
To make sure his brother wouldn't be implicated?
Right.
If his mental state ever improved, I mean,
It's almost like
it's wild.
he wanted to have the final word
Right.
shape his own legacy
Even if it was a legacy of
violence and brutality.
violence and brutality.
Yeah.
And if that wasn't enough,
Oh, no.
there's one final twist to this story.
Okay.
You ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Joseph Mad Dog Taborsky,
Yeah.
the man who terrorized Connecticut,
Right.
responsible for multiple deaths,
Yeah.
he donated his body to science.
Whoa, wait.
I know.
Hold on.
That doesn't compute.
That doesn't add up.
I know.
A cold-blooded killer
Yeah.
offering up his body for medical knowledge.
It seems so out of character.
It seems so out of character.
Oh, it's crazy.
Why would he do that?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
It's almost impossible to reconcile
right.
the brutality of his crimes with this seemingly selfless act.
Right.
I mean, some might say it was, a desperate attempt at redemption,
okay.
a way to try and make amends
Right.
for the pain he caused.
Right.
Others might argue it was, just another way
Right.
for him to exert control.
Control. Right.
To have a say,
Right.
in what happened to him,
Even after death.
even after death.
It's a truly bizarre ending
It is.
to an already bizarre story.
To an already bizarre story.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like he wanted to leave us with this
Giant question mark.
giant question mark just hanging there.
Yeah, I agree.
Like daring us to make sense of it.
Right.
Daring us to try.
And that's what makes it so compelling.
It is.
Yeah. He forces us to confront
Yeah.
this uncomfortable reality
Uh-huh.
that good and evil, they aren't always so
Neatly defined.
neatly defined,
No.
Sometimes they coexist
Yeah.
within the same person,
Yeah.
a tangled mess of contradictions.
Right. I mean, we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
From the rough upbringing
It's Hartford.
to the nickname,
Yog.
the double death sentence,
Yeah.
the shocking acts of cruelty,
Right.
but also compassion.
And the compassion.
And then that final act,
donating his body.
donating his body to science, it's
It's a lot.
a lot. It sticks with you.
It's a reminder that sometimes truth is stranger than fiction.
Absolutely.
His life was just this whirlwind
Yeah.
of extremes. I mean,
Yeah.
really a case study
Yeah.
in the darkest corners
Mm-hmm.
of the human psyche. But even within all that darkness,
Yeah.
there were these glimmers
Right.
of something else,
Yeah.
these moments of humanity, of complexity.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it so much more
Yeah.
than just a
simple black and white
black and white
narrative, right? And it always brings us back to that question, doesn't it?
It does.
Could things have been different for him?
Right.
Was he always going to become, the mad dog?
Yeah.
Or was there a chance?
A chance for redemption,
Yeah, I mean, even a sliver of a chance,
Right.
that he could have just turned it all around.
It's a question that, has no easy answers.
Yeah.
It really forces us to consider
So many.
nature versus nurture,
Right.
the criminal mind,
Right.
the possibilities,
Yeah.
but also the limitations of
right.
rehabilitation.
I mean, it's a debate.
It's a debate that continues,
that continues to this day.
And Taborsky's case,
Yeah.
I mean, it's cited
All the time.
as a prime example
Yeah.
of how difficult,
Yeah.
but also how crucial it is to
Yeah.
understand
The roots of violence.
of criminality.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
This is not, this isn't just a story about
About one man
one man and his crime.
and his crimes. Yeah,
It's a story that it challenges us,
it does.
to think critically
Yeah,
about the justice system,
absolutely.
about the human condition,
About good and evil.
about good and evil. Yeah. It's a deep dive
It is.
that leaves us with more questions.
More questions than answers.
and answers, and I
think that's what makes it
so fascinating.
so fascinating, right?
Yeah.
It's thought-provoking,
It is.
Yeah.
Well, there you have it.
There you have it.
The deep dive into the life and times
Of Joseph Mad Dog Taborsky.
this guy. he left a mark.
An indelible mark.
Yeah, on Connecticut.
On Connecticut.
And on anyone.
Anyone who hears his story.
Yeah, who hears his story. And I hope this is giving you, some new insights.
Some food for thought.
Some food for thought.
Maybe even a few chills.
A few chills down the spine, yeah.
Yeah. And as always,
yeah.
we encourage you to keep exploring.
Yeah.
Keep questioning and keep seeking.
Keep diving.
Keep diving.
That's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about.
Until next time.
Until next time.